Why So Cold contains content that is graphic in nature. Listener discretion is advised. Why So Cold relies largely on police or news documents, eyewitness accounts, press conferences, and interviews. Every episode of Why So Cold is produced with respect to the victims, families, and communities involved.
From Watts Creative Studios, this is Why So Cold. This episode wouldn't be possible without all of the hard work and research by Rhiannon Garrett. Thank you, Rhiannon, for sharing your research and making it available to Why So Cold, and helping keep this case alive. The partially clothed body of 20-year-old Veronica Hepworth was discovered in the early hours of February 25, 1982, along a driveway in Loudoun County, 50 miles from where she was last seen alive. Decades later, Veronica's case puzzles both law enforcement and the public with numerous questions, which none have been answered. Veronica Ann Hepworth was born on October 14, 1961. Unfortunately, we don't know much else about this young woman and her life, other than through the horrible crimes she fell victim to. On the evening of February 24, 1982, 20-year-old Veronica and a group of friends were at the Fancy Dancer, a popular nightclub on Richmond Highway in Alexandria, Virginia. The group was out celebrating a friend's birthday, and the names of those people have not been released to the public. But we do know Veronica was wearing a blue shirt, blue jeans, a gray sweatshirt, and tennis shoes that night. The last confirmed sighting of Veronica was outside the Fancy Dancer between 1:30 a.m. and 2 a.m. on February 25th. The initial reports back in 1982 suggested the time being close to 2 a.m., but most recent reports note the time as 1:30 a.m. The police believe that the 20-year-old somehow got separated from her group of friends, but it is unknown if she left the nightclub on foot, hitchhiked, or accepted a ride from someone at the bar. However, it is quite unlikely she would have set off walking, as the temperature that night was in the mid-30s, and Veronica was not wearing a jacket. Nevertheless, she was again seen just a few hours later, but by that time, Veronica had lost her life. At 7 a.m., just when the daylight broke, two men heading to work spotted Veronica's partially clothed body lying just feet off the side of the road along Route 50. The person who had left her there had not tried to hide the body in any way. Veronica was dumped in a clearly visible spot on a patch of grass between the short gravel driveway of a farm and a barbed wire fence. The owners of the property, called the Aldi couple, told the police that they had not seen or heard anything alarming in the hours before Veronica's body was found. The young woman had been sexually assaulted, and her cause of death was thought to be strangulation. She was wearing only a bra, the blue chambray shirt, and her underwear. Her blue jeans, gray sweatshirt, and shoes were found scattered around the body. At first, it was difficult to identify Veronica's body. She was found with no personal items, and nobody yet knew she had even been missing. It is unknown if Veronica had been carrying a purse or a wallet the night before. Before identification could have been made, the body was transported to Fairfax Hospital for an autopsy. Some of those familiar with the area have found it weird that Veronica was taken to Fairfax, over 25 miles away, in the first place. Her death certificate was signed by the medical examiner in Leesburg, Loudoun County, which was considerably closer than Fairfax Hospital. The autopsy was performed on Friday, February 26th. The medical examiner could not determine Veronica's exact time of death due to the freezing temperatures, and whether she had been killed in the same location where she had been found or somewhere else. But it was found out that Veronica had been strangled and most likely died within 3 minutes. In addition, She had suffered some blunt force trauma to her body and head. The following day, the unknown murder victim was identified as Veronica Hepworth, and an obituary was published in that morning's issue of the Washington Post. After the news of the homicide was released, a witness, a UPS driver, came forward saying he had seen a red pickup truck, possibly a late 1960s or 70s model, in a driveway along Route 50 with its lights shining onto the roadway around 4 or 5 a.m. The driver said he noticed a man bent down in the truck. A truck matching a description from the driver was later found abandoned near the farm where her body was left. Other than that, we do not know if the vehicle is linked to Veronica's death in any way. On Tuesday, March 11th, Captain McDonald said that quite a few witnesses had been interviewed by the investigators, but they still did not know who Veronica might have left the nightclub with that night. Apparently, they had interviewed the owner of the bar and the bands that were playing at the time of her disappearance, and even went to North Carolina to try and find one of the bouncers at the bar from that night. However, that person had also passed away by the time investigators located him. Other than that, the police have been interested in Veronica's boyfriends. According to law enforcement officials close to the case, a man they believe Veronica dated for about 3 weeks before they broke up may have been the last person to see her alive. The boyfriend, as seen in a 1982 photograph the officials have of him, is a white male with dark hair. Veronica's family says they did not know him, and he has not been located since the 80s. The last boyfriend is still considered a person of interest, not necessarily a suspect, in Veronica's killing, and a forensic artist has produced an age progression sketch to give residents an idea of what he might look like today, most likely in his early 60s. He might have been from Louisiana, or at least lived there before, as a local newspaper published an article in 2015 saying the police were looking for a man in connection with Veronica's case. It seems that Veronica lived in Louisiana sometime between her junior year of high school in 1979 and before she was murdered in 1982. She did not appear in the yearbook for her senior year in Virginia.
Now, this week marks the 34th anniversary of the death of a Fairfax County woman found murdered along a rural county road. Investigators are now renewing a push for information to help solve this cold case, and so is the victim's family. Northern Virginia Bureau Chief Jeff Goldberg has their story.
It seems like it happened yesterday, but then again, it seems like it happened a lifetime ago.
Every day for the past 34 years, Heather Embry and Bill Hepworth have lived with not knowing who killed their sister, Veronica Hepworth,
A really friendly, outgoing person.
known as Ronnie.
And still to this day, I still find myself praying at night, just, please let there be a break.
On February 24th, 1982, Ronnie was 20 years old, celebrating a friend's birthday at the now-closed Fancy Dancer Bar on Route 1 in Alexandria. She got separated from the group. Early the next morning, her body was found partially clothed along Route 50 near Route 15, an area of Loudoun County known as Gilbert's Corner. This area is about an hour away from where Ronnie Hepworth was last seen and from where she lived. The connection to Gilbert's Corner is a question that still remains unanswered.
You think about it all the time. It becomes a part of you.
Virginia State Police Special Agent Chris McClure and Loudoun County Sheriff's Detective Steve Chauchet have been working the cold case for years.
I'll talk to Ronnie every day. Give me something. Let me know who did it.
Evidence remains thin in a crime from so long ago.
We've had numerous people on the radar, and there are some people that we haven't completely eliminated. And hopefully along the line, we come up with the person that did it.
You've always hoped that we get a call saying, hey, we got him.
For Bill and Heather, that hope will not go away.
I don't think we're even looking for justice. We're just looking for closure.
Until the day the phone rings with an answer.
Since then, years have passed without any solid leads in the case. At some point, around 2015, DNA found on a piece of Veronica's clothing was submitted using new testing technologies that weren't around at the time of the case. The outcome of those tests are unknown. There have also been some curious comments in a local message board called the Fairfax Underground. These statements are not confirmed in any way, but interesting nonetheless. One comment says, "I hung out at the Wild West sometimes. Ronnie was a friend, and her killer needs to be caught and fried. Ronnie hung out with our redneck crew. At least one bad boy wolf is dead and gone." Another comment reads, "All I know is I saw Ronnie leaving the bar that night with a couple of guys. I'd like to know what happened to her. Who the hell knows the guy driving the red pickup?" All of my old Arcola redneck party hogs need to start talking, unless you're dead. The medical examiner later gave another opinion of the estimated time of death, saying Veronica had died around 4:30 a.m. That does not leave a big time window to commit the sexual assault and the murder, assuming Veronica was killed in the farm's driveway. But it does match the time frame when the UPS driver saw the red pickup truck. The truck has kept raising questions during the years as law enforcement has never really released information about it. Whose was it? Who was inside? Was there any evidence? Or was the vehicle completely unrelated to Veronica's murder? We do not know. For one reason or the other, law enforcement has been extremely quiet about the case and its details, with not much information available of the victim either. Over the years, authorities said they have received numerous tips and leads, but nothing has panned out to lead to an arrest. Still, the Virginia State Police and Loudoun County Sheriff's Office are hoping that the public might help them to solve this case, even after 40 years. Loudoun County Cold Case Detective Dave Chanham commented on the importance of the tips in cases like Veronica's. He says, "We run down every tip we get. We have gone all over the place on our cases, and you can't grade tips from 1 to 10, because what if you're off by 2 and that is the tip you need? But if you don't go knock on the door and ask the question, you're not going to get any answer." Detective Channing's partner added, "If we can give one family member some resolve, then I think the job is worth it, because who doesn't want to help a family have some closure about the death of a loved one or a friend?" In 2016, Veronica's brother Bill said that he still finds himself praying every night, "Please let there be a break." Unfortunately, today, we're all still waiting for that break, and Veronica Hepworth's murder remains unsolved. Anyone with information regarding the case should call the Virginia State Police at 703-376-1690 or the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office at 703-737-8487. This has been an episode of Why So Cold. For the source material used in this episode, visit whysocold.com.